Feel free to return to our channel at any time. Ace Frehley, Kiss's original spaceman, stands before the cameras, his voice calm, but betraying his years of suppressed anger. When he finally speaks out about his long-running animosity with Gene Simmons, the man behind the notorious monster persona, the rock world watches in disbelief. While Kiss fans have long conjectured about internal strife, Frehley's comments show an unanticipated side of Simmons, a guy whose relentless pursuit of fame is fueled by an equally insatiable thirst for power, dominance, and control. It appeared as though Gene Simmons, the towering figurehead of Kiss, was always something otherworldly. A guy whose unrelenting ambition frequently steamrolled others around him was behind the flashy clothes, fire-breathing displays, and famed stage presence. Frehley depicts a guy whose avarice, manipulation, and fixation on preserving his own legacy, even if it means sacrificing those who contributed to its establishment, now devour him. He was once Simmons's ally. Frehley's relationship with Simmons was complex and frequently poisonous, and it was at the center of his incredibly successful but internally troubled tenure with Kiss. On stage, they exuded solidarity. It was an entirely other tale going on behind the scenes. Simmons was more than a bandmate to Frehley. He was an irresistible force who wanted control of the band in every way. Their partnership quickly became fractured due to Simmons' dogged pursuit of achievement, which curbed any opportunity for collaboration, from creative control to financial decisions. Imagine all the late-night squabbles, never-ending tour dates, and relentless pressure to produce hit records that were all controlled by Simmons. As a free spirit who loved music more than money, Frehley felt stifled by Simmons' dictatorial control. As things got worse, Frehley started to feel like he was just another cog in the wheel of the band he helped found. As Frehley saw it, Simmons' obsession with growing the Kiss empire led to an image-first strategy that sold out rock and roll's essence through relentless commercialization, merchandise deals, and dubious branding tactics. Music wasn't the only thing that divided them. They dealt with issues of respect, sincerity, and identity, things that Simmons appeared to be prepared to give up in pursuit of stardom. Frehley finally snapped when he realized that Simmons and Paul Stanley were making major choices without him and were chipping away at the band he had helped build. Simmons' problems with Kiss weren't the only ones. He frequently clashed with other rock legends due to his egotistical nature and refusal to apologize for his opinions. If we take Simmons' public fight with Eddie Van Halen as an example, it reveals his tendency to take credit where credit is due. It gave Simmons great pleasure to suggest that his mentorship had a significant role in the success of Van Halen, the guitarist who had previously tried out for Kiss before establishing his own band. The Van Halen siblings were irritated by this because they perceived Simmons' remarks as an attempt to boost his own legacy through manipulative storytelling. However, the disputes persisted beyond that point. A large portion of the rock scene felt alienated from Simmons due to his direct and frequently harsh criticism of other bands. His criticisms ranged from ignoring the significance of bands like Aerosmith to writing off grunge music as a passing trend. He was well respected by his colleagues, but rarely beloved due to his haughtiness and ruthless business practices. Simmons continued to stir up trouble even in the business sector. A lot of people started to wonder if he really cared about music or if it was just a means to an end. His reality TV series bombed, his restaurant chain flopped, and his obsession with making money at the expense of his artistic integrity. Gene Simmons' private life was a whirlwind of inconsistencies, scandal, and emotional estrangement, away from the dazzling lights of the stage and the dogged quest of achievement. Their love story, spectacular on the surface, was engulfed in scandals and suspicions of adultery that Simmons could never escape from, as did his long-term relationship with Shannon Twee, the beautiful former Playboy model who stayed by his side for decades. While onlookers witnessed the couple's happy red carpet moments, behind the scenes, a woman battled the harsh truth of being in a relationship with a guy whose commitment was clouded by his ravenous need for affirmation and praise. For a long time, Simmons shamelessly embraced the persona of a free-spirited rock star, proudly displaying his numerous romantic partners like prized possessions. The aura of being the consummate playboy was something he enjoyed. A guy who appeared to have it all: notoriety, riches, and a never-ending stream of women. He took great pride in this mask, even though it undermined his connection with Tweed. In front of others, he said she had his heart, But when they were alone, he repeatedly threatened to break their relationship due to the stress of his infamous flirtations and lack of commitment. Tweed battled valiantly to save their love, but every public confession of infidelity and blurry tabloid photo of Simmons with another woman felt like a blade. The ever-present conflict between love and self-respect consumed Tweed, a resilient and graceful woman. She displayed moments of silent power when she refused to be portrayed as nothing more than another victim of Simmons' conquest mentality. The mental and emotional toll, however, was apparent. Their relationship was seen to fans in an unfiltered, true way on the reality show Gene Simmons' Family Jewels, which drew the curtain back on their lives. An event that started out as a joyous family reunion ended up revealing hidden animosity and broken trust. Simmons, who has spent years evading responsibilities, resorted to humor and swagger to avoid having to face uncomfortable confrontations, as seen on camera. On the other hand, Tweed's expression, a mixture of calm disappointment and annoyance, said it all. A story of a lady who is sick of hearing the same old justifications and who wants nothing more than to find peace in a world that is hell-bent on denying her that. Tweed wasn't the only one who had to deal with Simmons' inflated ego. Being born into a world of opulence and high expectations, their children were burdened by the weight of their father's fame. Imagine the challenges of having a dad who was portrayed as an invincible rock god and who stressed the importance of success above all else. Simmons had little space for emotional intimacy or vulnerability due to his preoccupation with celebrity, fortune, and legacy. Although he was very kind, providing his family with the best that money could buy, there was seldom any genuine connection between them. Even if they had it good growing up, his children still longed for something more important: his time, presence, and comprehension. Despite their best efforts to project harmony to the outside world, rumblings of dissatisfaction were always there. Underneath the surface, there was unspoken friction. Simmons's obsession with his work caused an emotional barrier that was impossible to overcome with reality TV. The family was attempting to find their identity apart from Gene Simmons' enormous public presence, but they were only smiling for the cameras. Ultimately, Grant's private life reflected his public one. Spectacular and bursting at the seams with flaws that not even the most magnetic personality could cure. Many friendships and bridges were burned as a result of Gene Simmons' intransigent ambition. His troubled connection with Peter Criss and other former bandmates served as a sobering reminder that even the best relationships may be shattered by success. Criss accused Simmons of manipulating history to suit his narrative. Dear Criss, the original Kiss Cat man often talked about how he felt unappreciated and left out. His efforts were eclipsed by Simmons' focus on business. Paul Stanley, a rock legend and long-standing collaborator of Simmons's and ostensibly best friend, was not immune to the power struggles that occurred behind the scenes. Stanley was known to get annoyed with Simmons' inability to separate friendship from business, despite their strong public front. Gene Simmons's life and work serve as a cautionary story about the perils of passion, extravagance, and sacrifice, while also inspiring admiration for his dogged pursuit of greatness. He elevated rock and roll to the status of a commodity, turning Kiss into an unstoppable empire of myth, merchandise, and music. This band evolved from four guys playing face paint, rising to the pinnacle of musical stardom under Simmons's direction, complete with gory stage productions and fire-breathing extravaganzas. He was a trailblazer in rock marketing, building an iconic brand that has endured through several eras and musical styles. Despite all the achievements, Simmons' life is a complicated web of broken relationships, unquenchable ambition, and an insatiable hunger. The man who paid the ultimate price for his ravenous ambition to dominate the industry is hiding behind the legendary makeup and the tongue-wagging swagger. Even when it meant sacrificing people closest to him, he insisted on achieving success. Simmons' inflated stage persona frequently masked the very personal battles that were occurring behind the scenes. In his dogged pursuit of power, once fellows became enemies, and those he had worked with became victims. His legacies are mixed with adoration and hatred due to his control issues, his relentless pursuit of wealth, and his unwillingness to display weakness. The ugly underbelly of Simmons' empire was exposed by Ace Frehley's revelations. There was a darker, more tragic tale behind the countless devoted followers and millions of CDs sold. One of seclusion. It depicts an artist who appeared to have it all, yet frequently found himself all by himself in his own realm. Simmons became a symbol of rock's loftiest aspirations due to his dogged pursuit of fame. It is a sobering reminder, though, that no ambition, no matter how lofty, is without its share of price. His life and work show that even the strongest can feel empty inside when they chase achievement without boundaries. There is a hint of sorrow in Simmons' story, despite all his accomplishments. A deeper connection to the music that once drove his enthusiasm, relationships that may have been saved, friendships that could have lasted, and rumblings of what could have been persist despite his towering success. Even though he made Kiss into an unstoppable force, the strain on his former bandmates' faces and the lives of those he left behind are reminders of the price they paid for his success. In those still moments when the most boisterous among us are forced to face the stillness. While Gene Simmons' legacy will undoubtedly include rock anthems and financial success, it is more than that. An ambitious man who established an empire but had trouble finding inner peace is the hero of this story. While his legacy will live on in rock lore, it is a reminder that celebrity can never buy happiness and that true success comes from inside. His impact was profound and divisive.